Motivation in Motion. Own your moment and get better today. All right.
Yes,
okay. All right. Let's get started. All right.
Appreciate it.
This is
Thanks
the best,
for having
man.
me.
This is perfect, man.
Of
All the opportunities to have a conversation on the couch, this is going to be a lot of fun. So anyway, I want you to tell everybody who you are.
Jared Kaaiohelo. Grew up in Edmond. I was fortunate enough to be, growing up playing sports because of my parents and brothers' influence, and great coaches along the way. My dad being kind of my first one, that poured into me. And, watching him do his thing and wanting to make him proud was fun for me. And competing with my brother, I was the younger brother. And my brother was very talented and, hard worker and physical, all those things. And kids will be what they see.
Right.
So being able to just watch from a younger brother's perspective, him work with my dad on some things and his ups and downs, encouraged me to want to dive into athletics even more. My dad was an official.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah, in the Big Eight. Eddie Sutton was at Arkansas, and Phi Slamma Jamma in Houston. We used to, fly down there with him and watch him ref games. And I was about 8 years old. I'm trying to fight guys in the stands that are talking bad about the referees. So that was kind of my, upbringing. Just getting to watch great folks and great people around me. And then obviously the community of Edmond. Rick Jones had a huge influence on me in high school. Showing me how, showing us how to do things the right way, and not really be, all the cool sayings that you have nowadays, but showing us how to do it and not really worried about the outcome. He was the first guy I really looked at that coached the person, and then the player came out of that, and so that always kind of stuck with me on how he, treated not only his coaches, but his players, and that stuck with me. The byproduct of that was, I got to play as a sophomore, went to the state finals.
That's right.
My junior year, we went undefeated, and then my senior year, we won it all. And it's interesting because I always say it was probably the least talented group, but I think obviously was the best team because we had a chance to learn from those older guys and what Coach Jones had put in place. So special time.
I was young. I got my Bulldog colors on just for this.
Go Dogs.
That's right. I grew up watching those teams, dreaming of being like you guys.
Right.
I didn't have an older brother. I had an older sister, and I wanted to be like so many of you and your teammates, and just watching that culture build. And junior high, I was like, we're gonna do this. We're winning championships around here.
Right.
And I loved it. I loved every minute of it. So.
No, it was a great place to grow up, and we're very fortunate.
Now, obviously, we were actually at one time roommates.
Yes.
Right. But before that, I want to hear a little bit about Arkansas. And I want to hear, and we have a lot of similarities in our life,
That's crazy.
and we know that, right?
Parallels.
There's a lot of parallels.
Yeah.
And I want you, if you'd share a little bit about what took you to Arkansas and what took you away from Arkansas.
Wow. Well. Yeah, I haven't talked about that in a while.
I think it needs to come out. You thought this was going to be easy?
So
hold on. Of all the things that you know about me, you thought today would be easy.
I thought we could just jump into the present, you know what I mean, and not really
and then not
talk
dive
about the scars of the past.
So why did you train with me?
Huh?
Why did you work out with me back in the day?
Well, because like I said, my older brother, I knew he was competitive and he would make me better, and I always looked at folks and I like, who can I connect with? There's a difference between attachment and connection.
Right.
Like you.
Real quick, sorry. When you lean forward like that,
Yeah.
I lose you with audio.
Okay.
Okay.
So what adjustments do you need to make?
Wow. Are you going to stay forward is what he's asking.
How much time do you have?
Wow.
I'll have to check my stopwatch. So
I can reposition it to make some room.
No, sit back. Just
sit back the
Just
entire
sit back.
time?
No, you can lean a little bit, but you can't come ahead of the mic. You went like this.
Oh, I did?
Yeah. You can
okay.
you can lean forward a little bit.
I got you.
You can't lean all the way forward.
Don't lean all the way forward.
Everything up,
Yeah.
down.
Chest up, thumbs
So
up.
where he is coachable. Where did we leave off about working hard and attachment?
Why did you?
Yeah. So why? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So why did you train with me at one time?
Well, just like with my brother, I looked at folks that compete, that want to get better, that can help me along the way. There's a huge difference between connection and attachment. I thought we had a really natural attachment.
Yeah.
Because the thought process was the same.
100%. So you thought when you came to have a conversation with me that I wouldn't dive in to your past,
Fair enough.
knowing what you've overcome and knowing what you've been through.
Yeah.
You know me better than that.
No question.
So you had to know in the back of your mind, right?
Yeah. No, it's important to share, our
I think
stories.
I think that story needs to come
Yeah.
out because
Yeah.
I think what would happen for your kids that you coach now,
Right.
I think they would know where that comes from, right? It didn't come from yesterday, right? That came from years ago.
Sure.
I'll leave that out of it because
Yeah.
we're good-looking young guys now. But
yes.
years ago, you were galvanized, and I'd love to hear. So how you got to Arkansas
Right.
and how you left Arkansas.
Well, I didn't know very much about recruiting, neither, did my dad. And I just thought, hey, we're going to keep our head down and work hard. That's always kind of been the thing. After we won the state championship, I just didn't really have a lot of interest from D1 schools. That's what's similar today. Oh, I'm a D1 guy.
Yeah,
Are you really? Let's manage expectations. But I thought, I'm going to wait around for the right offer. It was interesting too because Coach Mike De La Garza, who's been a huge influence in my life too, has been around City of Edmond for a long, long time. On signing day, we had 4 guys that signed and went D1.
Right.
For my dear friends and teammates. I was sick that day and couldn't go to school, and I didn't have any offers anyway, and so I decided that I'm going to take a chance, and I went with my best friend Jason Allen to the University of Arkansas and walked on. Little did I know I would probably meet another man, and John Stuckey, who was our head strength coach at the time, who's a legendary strength coach, God rest his soul. And then my running backs coach, Ken Rucker, was really a life-changing experience for me on how they coached me and how they supported me. We talked, I know you talked with some coaches earlier and talked about everyone has someone that's helped them pull them up by the bootstraps.
Right.
It's hard to do things on your own, but I showed up at 17 years old as a walk-on at the University of Arkansas, having no clue, but all I had was hard work, and that's what I did. I mean, we had our own locker room. We didn't have our name on anything. We didn't get a hog sticker. I mean, you talk about the bottom of the barrel.
I remember getting Grays and Grays when I walked on.
Yeah.
It was just Grays on Grays, Russell
Correct.
Athletics, because they didn't want to waste a logo on us.
No,
That's
no,
what we felt like.
That's right. And I knew they were testing me. And so it was a tough, I tell my kids this now because my oldest is getting ready to go to college. I said it was the hardest, best year of my life. Going from a state championship and kind of being the guy on campus to really being a nobody. It was an experience I needed.
Yeah.
Everyone has to have a breakdown to have a breakthrough, and that was kind of the breakdown for me. But it forged me to understand, manage expectations, and no matter what, you just got to keep your head down and work. So I go and walk on and had some success during spring ball, which was kind of exciting to me. And then I come home from college my first semester, and
Yeah.
I hadn't talked about this in a while.
I know, but here's the deal. I know what's galvanized you.
Yeah.
People need to know that that's just the backstory that sets you up for where God had your trajectory.
Yeah, no question.
And someday your kids
Yeah.
need to know.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's hard to talk about, but it was, it's something that absolutely was a life changer. And you talk about faith. I mean, it's the people that were around me that were deep in faith helped me through it. But it was Memorial Day weekend. People were out celebrating. I went to work out.
I remember.
The athletic club over there up in Moreland Western with my brother and friends, and so we're working out and getting all pumped up. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I said, I'm out. And we lived off of Memorial Road.
Oh, yeah?
My brother still lives there now. So in the middle of the afternoon, man, I'm done working out and driving the cheap Cherokee home and got hit head on by a drunk driver, which changed my path. He did not survive the accident. They could not get the door open. The first person to arrive on the scene, I think they just had car phones back then, and a friend of mine, it was a smaller community then, had driven by and saw it was me and had called my mom at home. And so she made her way there, but they couldn't get the doors open. The other guy was ejected from his vehicle. The first officer on the scene ordered 2 corner vans, 2 body bags. And obviously, it didn't happen.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God. So, what I do remember from that, though, is the amount of outpouring from the community and the church that my parents would tell me about. My brother would be like, man, there's like 200 people in the lobby of Mercy Hospital.
Wow.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And it hit my mind,
Yeah.
like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
They're praying for you.
I knew about it.
Right. And that was before we could text.
Yeah.
That was before social media.
Yeah.
And that
I think
was
we heard
just-
about it through the church.
Right. And so it was pretty cool to see faith in action. And because there hadn't really been an event in my life that was God is good.
Yeah.
Because things were kind of pretty smooth.
No, I remember we've talked about this.
Yeah.
You knew you lived a very special high school life.
Correct.
You knew that.
Yes.
You
Great
enjoyed
support system.
a great family, great support system, tons of success, right?
Yeah.
It would be what you'd want for your kids, just that model of that, right? And then in that moment, I got to see what I had already known a little bit from you was just the work to put yourself back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No question. That was something you can't prepare for.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Isn't that why they call it faith?
That's right. Yeah. Is not knowing where you're going, but loving and trusting the one that's leading you. That's faith. And out of necessity, I had to do it. I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
And that's what I needed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's interesting you bring that up. I think the perspective is when we get in tragedy or we have an obstacle, it's the perspective that you didn't think you had another option.
Right.
I'm just going to go forward. This is ground floor, new foundation. I got faith around me.
Right.
I'm going to press forward.
Right. Well, and how it plays into the sports was, here's what helped me is I like to read, all of us coaches and a player, we refer back to the playbook.
Yeah.
And when we're uncertain, we kind of go back and reference that. I hadn't done that in a while because things were going so well for me. I hadn't had to go back and reference and put my spiritual glasses on
Yeah.
and go back and reference the playbook and what it looks like. And so it gave me like different perspective is exactly right. You see things, 2-dimensional.
Yeah.
So it forced me to really dig in my faith. And FCA at Arkansas was a huge deal for me. And my teammates,
Oh yeah.
those were my support system. So it was a
And then a
it was a special
trajectory.
time.
You didn't finish at Arkansas.
No. I didn't.
The story's just getting started.
That's right. Okay, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
it.
no.
Yeah,
this
it's just
is
starting.
ground floor,
Yeah,
and this is
yeah.
about where I started to get to spend some time in your life a little bit, just through the gym and those those summer workouts, and so I'm seeing you recover and put that work in.
Right.
It's kind of about where I really kind of got to know you. I mean, I obviously watched you. You're a few years ahead of me. And what that looked like in high school, but now I got to see you,
Right. We were in
and
it.
put the work in it.
Yeah, we
So
were in it.
talk about that and where God led you at that point.
Sure. Yeah. Well, John Lance was at Missouri Southern at the time, and actually Greg Neese reached out to me. There was
Okay.
a lot of Edmond guys, Mike
yeah.
Trulock, Eddie Herndon, and a bunch of guys that were at Missouri Southern, and it just didn't work out at Arkansas. And people say, "Well, why didn't it work out?" Like, "Oh, I had a car wreck." I just say I wasn't good enough. But I had a wonderful time there with my best friend Jason Allen, and got to connect with a bunch of wonderful men that we still, stay in contact today. So it was a special time for me, and it taught me a lot, and it was what I was needed at the time. But when I transitioned to Joplin, America, and went to Missouri Southern, we went from airplane rides and steaks to bus rides and bologna sandwiches.
Exactly right.
But
Well, my coach was a Golden Corral fan, so
Oh,
we got Golden Corral.
okay.
That was a stop. That was
Man.
a big highlight of
Well, yeah,
leaving those steaks at OU.
I'd always wondered what those things on the side of the road where they had the picnic benches. Well, when you go play D2 ball in the early 90s, you
Yeah.
figure out what they're for. Canned Gatorade and bologna sandwiches on your way to beat the crap out of Pitt State. Sorry about that, guys. But That's
Yeah.
what we did.
Yeah.
And so it's for the love of the game, you know.
100%.
Yeah.
My first road trip, my first flight was at the University of Oklahoma. I'd never flown. My parents couldn't afford that on vacation.
Sure.
Then my opportunity here was a bus ride to Alva for opening day. The bus ride. So we're gonna go drive 4 hours in a bus
Yeah.
to play a 6 o'clock game
Yeah.
at 103 degrees.
Absolutely.
My dad's asking me before kickoff, "You feel okay?" I'm cramping in pregame. I'm like, "Where are the
Yeah.
jet? Where are we landing this thing? And where's the steak and eggs?"
That's right.
I'm like, "Wow, this is different."
And it was the day of the game.
yes.
I mean, Coach,
this is high school.
Yeah, I'm taped up. I've got
Yeah.
my pants on the side of the highway, eating my sandwich, and I'm ready to go. It's like we're back in junior high.
Yeah.
But we did it for a greater purpose. We just love the game.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Totally. And
Yeah.
and I even look at the men that came out of that time in my
Yep.
life. What they've done is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what's funny is, again, like your injury, we didn't look at it as we didn't have it. We had each other.
Right.
We were all in it together. So it was like, this is what it is.
Yes.
You can either accept it and own it and get better, or you can just stay there.
Right.
And so I thought it was such an we talk about that all the time, and you've had me back to speak here at UCO, and I always say it was my childhood dream to play at OU, but it was a privilege.
No question.
It's different.
Yeah.
And I treated it different.
Absolutely.
And we both knew that because of injury.
Yes.
Every day that we got to compete,
Right.
and I remember us doing some stupid stuff training. I'm talking like they probably should have had water, Gatorade, and IMSA ready when
Oh,
we went to
man.
go to blows.
Yeah, you can't do that in today's game. But we were lab rats.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we pushed the limit, but that was our edge. You know
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Like earlier,
Yeah.
you talked about I'm not the fastest guy, but I had hands, and so we were always trying to find an edge. And that's when I think, when we say iron sharpens iron,
Yeah.
the reason it does because it's the same.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think we were so connected, because we helped sharpen each other's blade just naturally.
Yeah, it was. I was watching you finish up at Missouri Southern, and then I'm transferring to UCO, and you're going to go play for the Scottish Claymores.
The Scottish Claymores.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to say that.
Yes. Yeah. But I remember like their symbol was a knight or sword.
Yeah, it's a Claymore
It's a
sword.
sword. It was.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is pretty cool.
It was awesome.
You need someone to watch the house, so I got room and board,
That's right.
and
Yeah.
yeah. But I just remember those days training. I remember some of the extreme stuff that we put ourselves through.
Right. Yeah.
And to your point, we wouldn't even ask kids to do that now.
No. Yeah. Well, we couldn't. But also, we have better information and research and development now. But it's because people ask me all the time, "What's different now?" I mean, I've got what's different now is I have a long list of things I know don't work.
That's good. Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And so that allows me to be really confident in what we're doing now. But that was part of the process back then. It was okay. Like, we knew it was something that we had to go through. And now when I talk to my kids or the kids that I coach,
Yeah.
is like, I don't know what a self-care day really looks like.
Yeah.
Because really it takes away the experience that we need to have a different perspective. It takes away the growth opportunity. It's okay to go head first, right? The young coaches I work with, well, the program's not perfect. It doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
You need to go figure it out, bump your head a little bit so you can learn from that experience. And that's what we try to create, right?
Yeah.
As coaches, are experiences that our kids can learn from.
We're creating pressure.
Correct.
Right? You as a strength coach, and I think, well, not only because it's where I thought I could win.
Yep.
I felt like no matter what God gave me athletically, the weight room was a place I could win every day.
It's a level playing field.
Yeah, and I love what you said one day is, man, I can win in here,
Yeah.
and it's measurable.
Correct.
I mean, I either can go in with an attitude if I'm going to get better today, or I can leave and I can just stay the same.
Here's what I love about weight room in the church. You have people that are strong as could be and then do really well. You have people that are kind of in the middle of their journey, and then you have people that are just starting out.
Yeah.
And the great thing about it is we're all there for the same reason. And there's going to be a time like, oh man, I got to get back in shape. So even the most, the person that's in the best shape at some point in time is going to
Yeah.
be starting back over, right? And they're going to have to go through that soreness again to learn how to grow from it. And that's why I love being a strength coach. My strength coach, John Stuckey, I mean, it goes back to Brett Adams and the Adams course. We haven't even touched on that.
100%.
It-
100%.
Those guys
Yeah.
gave me an opportunity to learn and to grow and to have a shot at playing.
Yeah.
And that's naturally got me into strength coaching. Here's why I love being a strength coach. I don't coach a position. I don't determine playing time. And I'm with these guys in the summer when the football coaches cannot be. That's a different connection.
Yeah.
That's a different dynamic.
Yeah.
They go out and recruit. I de-recruit. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a great challenge. But I'm able to share my story.
100%.
And that's what we do as Christians. We
Yeah.
share the story,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, Joe Jurassic was such a part of
man.
my success, man. And
What
and
Legend.
unbelievable in his consistency, and pushed me, knowing that was my only edge.
That's right.
I'm going to take him to a brink.
Right.
You know, before I started this journey, I asked a friend of mine that was down at OU. We've been friends now for all these years. And I said, "What'd you think about me training?" He said, "We thought you were going to kill yourself."
That's right.
And I actually took that. I was like, that means I was willing to redline myself over and over again. And that was probably one of my God-given strengths.
Yes. Oh, your gas tank was crazy.
And so what's funny, though, we talk about that. I needed that gas tank the last couple of years.
Absolutely. See how it comes back around.
Right? You know what I mean?
Do I?
Turned 47,
Right.
world falling around me.
Correct.
We started the idea of this journey in January of 2020 when I'm doing the Power 5 during COVID of moving, a little bit of a change at job, way different income because of COVID, right?
Right.
Divorce, Pop's dying,
Yeah.
trying to see to the other side, dealing with some illnesses. And I'm like, God, will you let up?
Right.
And it's interesting. That's why I wanted you to share that story is I had to lean on something so many years ago. I knew what it felt like to redline myself.
Right.
So I got down on my knees and said, God, I know what this feels like. Just give me enough energy to redline myself every day.
That's right.
Every day.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beautiful part of sports that we get to transcend as coaches is we get to teach those stories that they don't know yet,
Correct.
right? Our life experiences.
Right.
Now, I pray that no one that I coach goes through anything that I've gone through. I pray that. It's not what I wish on anyone. But I pray that I've given them some tools, right, that they can lean on when they lean on God to go, I know what it's like to go to work.
Right.
I know what it's like to hate to do something, but yet feel like I need to go do it.
Yes.
And that's what I loved about our relationship was I just remember us just pushing ourselves. I remember trying things and just, I think one of my favorite stories, I'll make this a little lighter for a second, because weren't you a part of the 100 rep 225 deal where we actually had to take lunch?
In between the 50-40s,
The 50-40s, that's right. But remember, we ran the 50-40s in the afternoon.
Correct.
Because we played in the afternoon.
Well, yeah.
Because we thought that was smart.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It made sense to us, which was scary.
People
wanna stop yet?
People are going to watch this and they're going to be like, these two
Yeah, what
men
are they
still
talking-
coach youth?
Oh, I know.
Wow. What is going on? But it's those characteristics. And we had a moment to share before we sat down on the couch. And I think about just all those parallels, man. And I love you and I love I love what you're doing here on a campus that's important to me.
Absolutely.
Right? I want you to talk a little bit about the coaches in high school, right? You mentioned several that impacted you.
Sure.
We've heard now, and I've had the blessing to kind of hear that, maybe the kids haven't changed, but I do think the standard's changing in the way we coach them. And I wish more men and women coach the way that I see some successful, great people of faith coach.
Correct.
And it's like they're not listening to what's worked, right? I mean, I've sat on this couch and listened to Coach Bud Wilkinson after losing the 47-game streak and going over to the Notre Dame locker room, letting his team wait on him and complimenting them with grace and class, telling them they're the best field on the team. I'm not sure there's a lot of men and women that are doing that today. But maybe it needs to be done. So can you encourage that crop of high school coaches that impacted us?
Yeah.
Can you say something to them? You're inheriting their kids.
Right. Well, I think coaching has always been tough, but that's why we do it. Sometimes we forget why we got into it, you know, and it's the game has evolved, and I think coaches are right when they say that kids haven't changed. I mean, yeah, society has changed, but it's the same challenges and distractions just delivered differently.
Okay.
But here's what I think. Here's what I think about coaching, and I say it all the time. It's always. This is when I went to Dan Hayes' cage camp back in the day.
Oh my gosh! In the barn.
In the barn.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother.
Yeah.
No
Well,
AC, like on the
Yeah.
rock. Remember the rock?
Yeah.
But he said coaches have the hardest job to do because they wake up and make young kids do what they don't want to do to accomplish what they've always wanted to accomplish. That's always stuck with me. As coaches, we may be coaching the same sport. We may be coaching the same things in the weight room, but what can differentiate us? It's like Amazon. They sell the same things. They just dominate the delivery. And as coaches,
That's great.
we have to be patient. We want to win right now. I mean, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
But we have to know the way, go the way, and show the way. We have to model what, like our core values here are selfless, tough, discipline. Well, we can't just put it on a T-shirt and say, do that.
Yeah.
We have to model what that looks like. That takes time. So when we are giving into the society, it's like we have to win now. Like I understand that.
Yeah.
There's an urgency to win, but there's also we have to dominate the fundamentals. So these coaches, and I don't care what level you're on, high school.
Okay.
We have to get the distractions and the noise. I think Coach was talking about that earlier in another segment. Is we have to ignore that and get back to the fundamentals. And fundamentals wins games.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't rush that.
Yeah.
You have to dominate the fundamentals. It's not fun. It may not look good on Twitter.
Yeah.
But that's what we always have to revert back to, just like our faith. At some point in time, we have to check ourselves and go back to the fundamentals. And we can't skip over that. So don't lose heart. Understand the windshield's bigger than the rearview mirror for a reason.
Yeah, one of my favorite stories in the Bible kind of remind me of the huddle. And it's the story of King David. He's hiding for his life. And I love that image of these mighty men, right? And I think that's what I've always loved about football is I felt like I was in the huddle with other mighty men. And then post-football, I think we forget to go put those same mighty men in our life.
Right.
Right? It's like, oh, football's over, trajectory on, I'm now down, I'm trying to be this, right? And if I could give someone a piece of advice, it's to go find those mighty men. The moment that team sport's done, go find you one or two that will stand guard when your life is on the line.
Well, yeah, you can go find them, or at some point in time, they're going to find you.
Yeah.
So be proactive.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
I just, man, it was such an honor. It was such a, I have such fond memories. It's like yesterday.
yes.
Our training sessions. And it's funny, I looked up a workout knowing you were going to come spend some time with me.
Okay.
So here's a typical day. I want to rewind you. Okay?
Oh, man.
We had this all written out. I mean, we planned it, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we did an hour in the weight room.
Correct.
Okay. Partner stretch.
Yep.
Then we went and did an hour of conditioning.
Yes.
Finished with 25 minutes of Jake Jensen's speed and agility, right? Because neither one of us were the swiftest. So we're like working technique and hip drive and all that junk.
Yes.
Then we would go eat.
Correct.
We would rest, and then we would go position train in the afternoon in the heat.
Right. Yeah.
And then I was trying to peel a few pounds off because I loved ice cream. We've talked about that. And so I would actually then jog miles at night.
I remember that.
And you would come back in and go, you partner stretch.
Yes.
And that was a day.
That's right.
That's what we did.
Yeah. Well, we were afraid to stop because we were afraid to let others down. It's just we were afraid to lose. We were afraid to let others down. I mean, I don't know if we did it because we thought we were the toughest guys in the world. I just didn't want to, and it's the same way we do now. Like the gas tank that you talked about, we want to be able to build that up because we don't know what's coming. But we understand that this has to be our foundation, and we have to be ready for anything because we understood our skill set. We understood what it's like the potluck dinner we always talk about. We thought at some point in time, and here's where we got better as we got older, we tried to bring everything to the table. Well, it's a potluck dinner, my guy.
Yeah.
You just bring one thing to the table that you do really, really well, and then you can eat like a king. You don't have to bring everything.
100%. I loved one of my life lessons happened at OU, and I was fighting to get in the depth chart, and I'd earned a scholarship, and I think it's going to happen. I'll never forget. We had a transfer come in, extremely gifted, and I started trying to be like him. And he actually said, "You do something I don't. You catch everything thrown to you. Be open on time and be you, because if you start trying to be me, you're going to lose your spot on this roster."
That's right.
And he was 100% right. I wasn't going to catch that ball, make 3 dudes miss, and house it.
Correct.
He could.
Well, and that gets exhausting, right, as a dad, as a coach, as a player, when we try to get outside our lane and we're not really good at what we do. You know, we say smooth is fast.
Yeah.
When we try too hard, it slows us down.
Yeah.
And so as coaches, we have to manage our egos, know what we bring to the table, and be okay with that. Then surround yourself with people that can, you said it, the giants around you.
Yeah.
That not only builds you up, but they build you up because they're coming in and they have a purpose. And you set them up for success, knowing their skill set. Like, this is what I need from you.
Right.
You know, that's where I think in coaching it can get exhausting, when you do try to do everything and you try to micromanage and you try to be the guy.
Yeah.
You know, you got to have the right folks around you. That's the hardest thing I feel like in coaching, is to make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people. And then when they get there, it's just like recruiting. How do you keep them?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions in closing. One of them, was there a player that you've either coached or played with that his faith just amazed you?
It would be hard just to mention one of them, because there are so many amazing young men that, you know, you don't think of it, because you think as a coach, I'm supposed to influence them.
Yeah.
But if you sit back and listen and watch, I mean, I'm a strength coach. I listen with my eyes, right? Everyone's fast, everybody's strong. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I just watch. And having that knowledge and skill set, just watch how are they coachable?
Yeah.
What happens in a game when the ball's not thrown to them?
Yeah.
What happens? So I don't know if it was as much, you know, one guy as it was different teams. You could just tell, you know, the natural leaders.
Okay.
And you know who is
Yeah.
a brother in Christ.
Yeah.
They don't have to announce it. Their actions match their words, and those speak louder. So I don't know. Everywhere I've been, there's been great young men, and I'd hate to start saying names and leave one out.
No, I think
that's
fair. I think that's fair. Then the second thing that I want to kind of talk about a little bit in closing would just be your daughters.
Whew. You gonna go there, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to finish with that. Right?
Is there a Gatorade towel crying too?
Yeah.
Just to get it out of the way.
Yeah, we'll don't worry. We'll edit out the crying.
Oh, okay,
by
good.
both of us. Okay, all right.
Okay.
So, you know, we are girl dads.
Oh yeah.
I would have never have dreamed what a badge of honor and privilege that is.
No question.
Right? So if they watch this when the good Lord's got your race done,
Yep.
what's one thing that they would think back and kind of talk about coach, not dad, coach JK?
Well, I think that I was hard but fair.
Okay.
Because it wasn't, I'm not fighting for me, I'm fighting for them. And that's a whole different battle. And I think that they see that I pour everything into it. And if you're a better coach, you're a better dad.
100%.
And God has a sense of humor. That's why he gave us daughters. That's why he gave us daughters.
Yeah, I was supposed to have Rock Barnes, just so you know. I'd already named him. He was probably going to play like outside linebacker.
100%.
Be about 30 pounds heavier than me.
Coach, I didn't have a 12-week workout. I had a 12-year workout plan for my guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But God always knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's all-knowing. And it was an absolute game changer for me on how I coach now. And I've learned a lot of things. And one thing I think they will say is, I don't want to tell them how to do it. I want to drop breadcrumbs so they can have ownership and enjoy their own journey.
Yeah.
And that's something I have to really, really work on it. It's
Yeah.
hard for me because I just want to fix it.
Yeah, me too.
You know.
We have that same heart.
Yeah.
I want to, and it's interesting. Best parenting advice I got was actually from a coach.
Absolutely.
He said, "Don't you want them to fail while they're in your house, so when they get out of it, they know how to respond because
Absolutely.
you've taught them,
Yes.
you've coached them." And I thought about that because I was trying to control everything
That's
in her
right.
young life, and then I was like, no, I want her to come to me with some failure, right? We push our athletes to extreme situations because we want to see how they respond to the failure. And yet I see helicopter parents after helicopter parents that I'm coaching their kid, and I'm like, I've got so many. We got parent
Right.
stories. We
No, what a
can't
great
say them out
point.
loud.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've run a mom off the practice field for
Right.
trying to hand me colored shorts and T-shirt of her son, and I'm like, your son's 17. He can get it. He can wash his own laundry.
Right.
Ma'am,
Yes.
I'm doing you a favor.
Well, yeah.
And if you get on my field again, we're going to run you with him.
And it's well intended.
It was the
Right.
heart.
It's well intended by the parents, but as a strength coach, you know what my job is to program challenges.
Yeah.
Is to program hardships, and to show them this is what we're doing. This is going to give us a chance. But we do that for our athletes to be ready for
Yeah.
competition. We have to do the same with our own children. And man, it's hard because we want to cut the cocoon, right? But then the butterfly's not strong enough to fly on its own because the struggle is what helps
Yeah.
the butterfly ready to take off. So what a great story.
Let me just tell you,
Yeah.
we could do this all day.
Yep.
You know that I love you.
Love you too, brother.
Your couch, which is kind of interesting. Actually, you gave me a bedroom. I probably fell asleep most of the nights on the couch because
Yes, you
I was
did.
watching TV with ice cream, but that's a whole nother deal. But
Yeah, man.
you can come back anytime.
I appreciate it.
And
Yeah.
I'm so proud of what you're doing on this university that means everything to
Thank
me.
you.
So I
Yeah.
love you.
Thank you. Love you too, buddy. Appreciate you. Thanks a lot.